Good day again. So my name is Jonathan David Dela Cruz, and now as part of the curriculum processes, this is still curriculum development. As part of curriculum development, we are discussing the curriculum processes, and in the curriculum processes, we are now at the curriculum designing. So in the curriculum designing, it is concerned with the nature and arrangement of the four basic particular parts of the curriculum. So let's jump right into it. So the sources of design, number one is science. It should be scientifically based, should adhere on the scientific method that provides a meaning for the curriculum design. It should not be just because of a hunch. It should not be just because of a feeling or emotion. It should be driven from the uh, scientific method. Society, schools should draw its deals for curriculum from the analysis of the social situation. What does the society needs? What does the society demands? What does the society can afford? Okay. You have to consider what the society needs at that area for you to develop your program, for you to develop your own education system. Is it really necessary to offer such program? But then again, there are global standards of education which we have to follow, and in following such, we still need to contextualize it on our society. Of course, the eternal and divine sources. Designers should draw from the past for guidance as to what is appropriate content. Again, there's no perfect content, only appropriate content that we have right now. We should all go back on the foundations of curriculum. There are the historical, sociocultural, psychological, and philosophical. Deriving from this, you can actually understand what the society needed that time and what does the society need right now. Now, there are a lot of cultures that considers the eternal and divine sources, and I actually encourage them. I actually encourage that education systems should adhere on these eternal and divine sources. But then again, it should still be liberating and allowing the learners to have free thinkers, allowing that schools should have free thinkers. Um, Also, uh, this has to be inclusive. Okay. Uh, Take note that an education system should be freeing, should not be discriminating, and should be liberating, wherein the learners could think freely, that they do not feel being disrespected, being degraded just because of their belief, their race, and their culture. Okay. Now, also the knowledge, what knowledge is most worth? What knowledge is most worth in that society? What knowledge is most worth in the current century? What knowledge is most worth in a global perspective? What knowledge is most worth on their program? Now, in the basic education, you need to instill essentialism, the reading, the writing, and arithmetic. These are essential knowledge. But when they go to higher program, when they get their go to their higher education institutions, what would they become? What do they want to be in the future? And to answer that, they need to enter a program that definitely would respond to their question, ano ang gusto kong maging? Kung gusto kong maging ganitong trabaho, let's say for example, you want to be an engineer or a doctor, what essential knowledge should be considered? Okay? What essential knowledge should be given importance? Take note that there are different sets of knowledge, bodies of knowledge. No knowledge is given to one man. Okay? So these knowledge is actually distributed into different functions of the society, in the different professions in the society. So if you want to be this person, this personnel who works in the hospital, who works in school, who works on buildings, essential knowledge is important to be taught to these students, to these learners. Okay? So Dapat alam natin kung ano yung worth knowledge. Knowledge that is most worth on this certain profession. Pero generally, sa basic education, dapat pantay-pantay yan. That's also why, if you're wondering that uh, all basic institutions, basic academic institutions, public schools are required to follow the curriculum guide set by the Department of Education, as well as private schools. The thing with private schools is that they can actually offer additional programs, like elective subjects, but they cannot reduce the subjects offered in the basic education, because that's the knowledge most worth that the DepEd found for the entire country, okay? Para sa buong Pilipinas, yun yung hinihiling ng Department of Education na dapat alam ng alam ng mga estudyante sa basic ed. Para kapag yung taga Visayas lumipat sa Metro Manila, nahihit pa rin yung same competency. Pag yung taga Manila naman lumipat sa Visayas, lumipat sa Cordillera, ganun pa rin. So, ah, para pagkalipat niya, nahi-hit yung same competencies. Meron siya ng competencies na dapat nasa grade 4, at ganun din yung grade 4 sa Metro Manila at grade 4 na nasa provinces. Okay? May ganon. Merong knowledge most worth for the community, for the society, mandated. Pero meron ding knowledge most worth per program pagdating sa college. 'Di ba? Ito naman ay binamandate ng Commission on Higher Education. Now, sources of design again. Learners curriculum should be derived from what we know about the learners, how he or she learns, from attitudes, generates interest, and develop values. Wala ang learners. Hindi pwedeng mawala Hindi pwedeng mawala ang learners. Kasi ang learners natin, again, in the 21st century education, the teachers are facilitators of knowledge. There's a vast pool of knowledge, and we have to organize it for our learners, because the learners are the center of education and the center of curriculum. Hindi na lang sila passive receiver of information from the teacher. All stakeholders should work together in order to improve the lives of our learners. Now, we need to know the dimensions of curriculum designs. Okay, so there are actually 6 dimensions of curriculum designs, and I want you to understand, we call it the basics. Basics, BASICS. B stands for balance. Balance, equitable distribution of content, time, experiences, and other elements of design. Having a balanced curriculum involves constant modification as well as balance in philosophy and psychology of learners. Balance in a way that there should be an appropriate time for a certain content and an appropriate experience. Okay? Again, if you want to provide a meaningful learning, you have to provide an adequate and appropriate learning experience that your learners are experiencing. Yun yung kailangang ma-hit. Okay? Dapat, no, if you want to give a meaningful learning, dapat ito ay maranasan ng estudyante o nararanasan nila para makarelate sila. Now, when you talk about balance, dapat balance yung time na binigay ninyo. Hindi pwedeng sobrang dami ng binigay mong time sa isang subject, tapos yun pala, ang kailangan lang naman niya na time para ma-consume is just few minutes. Let's say, nagbigay ka ng 2 hours sa subject na to, pero kaya naman palang tapusin ito ng 1 hour per session. Okay? O kaya naman, hindi balance yung classroom instructions mo na sobrang haba ng introduction mo to the topic, hindi balance yung topic mo, hindi balance yung content ng topic mo. Okay? Those has to be considered. Next is articulation. Articulation is interrelatedness of various aspects of the curriculum. Later on, you would understand that there is actually a horizontal and vertical levels of curriculum. So we have there the per year level. We also have the ones that in your year level, you're taking different subjects, right? And when you're taking different subjects, these subjects should have a common theme. Articulation also talks about smooth flow of curriculum. We want seamless of instructions. Gusto natin na maayos yung daloy ng discussion, maayos yung daloy ng curriculum. Ayaw natin ng sabog, ayaw natin na flip-flop, ayaw natin na nagdadangle. Okay? In our classroom instructions, pag naglalapat ka ng content, dapat may kwento. Dapat it should be seamless. Okay? S naman stands for scope. Scope is the breadth and depth of the curriculum. Lalim at lawak ng curriculum. Hindi pwedeng ilagay mo sa isang year level lahat ng napakahirap na subjects at pinagsama-sama mo sila. Consider the content, the topic, and the learning experience. Consider the objectives to prevent knowledge explosion. In developing objectives, take note that you have to consider the cognitive domain, the psychomotor domain, and affective domain. Ideally, we want all these objectives to be present in our classroom instructions, in our topics. But then again, no, that's ideal. Not all the time nasusunod yon. Ngayon, sa scope, hindi pwedeng lahat yan cognitive, hindi pwedeng lahat yan psychomotor, hindi pwedeng lahat yan affective. Okay? You have to hit all the three different dimensions of objective development as much as possible, ideally. Ngayon, pag naglalapat ka, pag nagdi-discuss ka, hindi mo pwedeng laliman ng laliman ng laliman. Kasi may time na yung paglalim mo ng topic, yun pala ituturo pa yun sa higher level. Kaya nagkakaroon ng problem. O kaya naman, no, hindi mo naturo ng maayos pagdating sa higher year level, sinabi na kailangan tong knowledge na to, tinanong mo yung bata, tinuro na ba to sa inyo? Sasabihin ng bata, hindi pa po, pero dapat alam na nila. May time din habang nagtuturo si teacher, sasabihin ng bata, ay sir, naturo na po yan sa amin. Naturo na po yan sa amin last year. Ha? Pero dapat ngayon pa lang yan ituturo. Ang tawag naman doon, nagkakaroon siya ng overlap. Curriculum overlap ang tawag doon. Okay? I will later on discuss that curriculum overlap. But then again, no, yung scope dapat appropriate sa content, sa topic, sa learning experience. Consider also the time. Hindi pwedeng sobrang lalim ng topic mo tapos ang haba-haba ng discussion mo. Hindi din pwede yon kasi, hindi ba, parang you are demanding too much from your learners if you're doing that. Next is integration. Okay? So, sa scope, dapat appropriate ang breadth and depth. Okay? Hindi saktong lalim lang, saktong ano. Pero, eventually, when you go up, dapat tumataas natin yung level of learning, level of difficulty doon sa scope. Now, so integrations refer to the linking of all types of knowledge and experiences contained within the curricula plan or the curriculum plan. Knowledge integration is very important. Dapat nahanap ng bata yung meaning ng subject mo sa subject ng iba, sa ibang subject. Say for example, in your fourth year, kaya grade 10, your topic in English, you also have a topic in economics, and you also have a topic in TLE. And then, ang nangyari, isang output lang pinagawa sa inyo ng tatlong teacher, making a business plan or business report, wherein yung English, yung grammar, dun i-check, yung supply and demand discussion sa economics ninyo, and yung sales, pati yung product ay doon sa TLE ninyo. Nagkakaroon ng integration. So, na-integrate yung relationship ng subject mo as a teacher, pati sa subject ng iba. Okay? And also, in the different bodies of knowledge pa, pwede din nilang ma-integrate sa real life situation. Say, for example, in your discussion in science, tinalakay ninyo yung water cycle. When you discuss water cycle, your learners relate it in their observations in the environment. They are able to integrate it in their experiences. Okay? Next naman is continuity. Continuity of knowledge is very important. Kasi hindi pwede na sabog yung discussion mo as a teacher. Kahit gaano kaganda ang discussion mo per topic, pero hindi natatahi ng bata, hindi ka maaaring magkaroon ng meaningful learning. So, also, you can consider the spiral curriculum that as the learners go in the higher level, lumalawak, lumalalim ang kanyang kaalaman patungkol sa certain topic. Okay? And that's the continuity. Dapat tuloy-tuloy. But then again, in the higher education system, there's actually prerogative. No, if you have a syllabus, you're obliged to follow it. If you have a lesson plan, you're obliged to follow it. But as teachers, you are also the drivers of curriculum. If you feel, or if you, based on your observation on your class, that they should know this topic first, it's okay. But then again, if you're talking about continuity, dapat susundan mo talaga kung ano yung ikaw kasi as a teacher ang nakakaalam kung ano yung mas importante sa isa o 'di ba? Isang topic kaysa dun sa isang topic kung ano yung dapat unahin at hindi. As teachers, you are expected to be experts of your content. And when you are an expert of your content, you should know the continuity, you should know the flow. Ang goal natin, dapat malinis ang daloy ng discussion mo. Pwedeng ituloy ang topic A sa topic B, topic C sa topic D, topic D sa topic E. Okay? Sequence naman provides continuous cumulative learning. Pagdating sa pagdating sa sequencing, mahalaga din na appropriate yung pagkakasunod-sunod. Kasi sa continuity, pwede kang yung A mo, pwede din naman siyang i-continue sa C. Kasi tuloy-tuloy pa rin naman. A, C, F. Kasi yun pa rin naman yung sequence eh. Okay? Yun pa rin naman yung continuity. Sa sequence, dapat alam natin kung ano yung ah, prior, ano yung susunod na discussions mo. To give you an example, no, actually, ang pag nagdi-discuss ka ng content mo, consider simple to complex. If your topic requires simple to complex discussion, go ahead, gamitin mo yon. Prerequisite learning, kung if you notice, there are subjects that requires learning from your previous discussion, take it. O kaya naman, di ba, merong Calculus 1, Calculus 2, Chemistry 1, Chemistry 2. These are subjects that dapat mo munang kunin tong 1 bago mo makuha yung 2. Whole to part, somehow, this is general to specific discussions, and chronological naman. Chronological, usually, this should be history courses, history subjects, because it has to be chronologically discussed. May mga ganon. Okay? Again, that will still depend on your subject or on your course. Now, let's check this. Tingnan natin ito. There are 3 columns. So, you have curriculum 1, curriculum 2, curriculum 3. Kung titingnan natin si curriculum 1, this table of sequence and continuity, may sequence ba si curriculum 1? The answer is yes. May continuity ba? The answer is also yes. Let's take a look at curriculum 2. So, when you actually check on curriculum 2, when you check on curriculum 2, there is a good sequence. Okay naman yung sequence niya eh. May A, may B, may D, may E. Okay? Clarify ko lang yung sa kanina. It has a good sequence, but does it have a good continuity? The answer is no. Why? Because nawawala si topic C. Nawawala si topic F. Okay? Dito naman sa curriculum 3, it has a sa curriculum 3, it has a poor sequence, no? And it doesn't have a continuity kasi poor na nga ang sequence niya. So, sequence and continuity goes together. Okay? So, if you have a good what do you call this? Good sequence, definitely, it's expected that you also have a good continuity. Magiging seamless yung discussion mo niyan, no? Magiging smooth yung flow mo niyan. Pagdating sa curriculum B, tumatalon ka. Minsan nangyayari ito kapag si teacher, ang ginagawa niya ay hindi niya masyadong gamay itong topic na 'to, ang ginawa niya drop niya, naalis niya yung topic na yun, jump na lang siya sa ibang topic at 'wag na 'wag yun gagawin. And then sa curriculum naman, 'no, sa curriculum 3, actually puwede gawin yung curriculum 3. Again, you are experts of your field. If you want na sa tingin mo mas magandang unahin ang topic D kaysa sa topic C, and you think based on your activities it could be appropriate, it's okay. It's okay. But it's encouraged to still follow the curriculum 1. Okay. So those are the dimensions of curriculum design: balance, articulation, scope, integration, continuity, and sequence. These are the dimensions of curriculum design. Always remember your basics when you are designing your curriculum. So, I hope you understood the importance of all of this. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening.